Hello everyone. Well, today's video is going to be the first in a series, and we're going to be putting something together. This is a gift that I received for my birthday, and it is a clock that is going to be made out of wood. So we're going to be following the many steps it's going to take to create this. So I hope that you will join me on this journey. I know that it will probably be at least 3 videos. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is make this jig that will help us put together the gears. So we have this base plate, and we have this axle that we need to put in here like this. It fits rather snugly. Then we have this right angle that we can use to measure and make sure that the axle is straight. That is going to make a difference. And how this is going to go together. So I need to make sure that this is perfect. And it seems to be having a little bit of a problem with perfect. Okay. You just have to measure it here. Okay. That's pretty close. Now, the first set of gears that we need are these here. And I've just bumped that, so now I have to recheck it. Okay. That wasn't very smart, was it? Okay, that's pretty good. So I have my handy dandy multi-step directions here. This is going to involve some gluing. So I have a chopstick here. And I have a plastic CD cover. And I'm going to pour out some glue here. It's not going to take much. So I only want a little bit. There we go. Now, it says to be careful, make sure I do not get glue onto this. So the first thing we do slide that down like that. Then we have these pins that go in here. And then we're going to put glue all around in here. to zoom in here. So that it's a little easier for you to see. I'm going to put glue all around these pins as well, since I assume that's going to help hold them in place. As you can see, they're kind of wiggly. In fact, put glue around that, like that. Trying to at least stay a little bit within the lines. It's fairly delicate work. Okay. So now we have this gear, and each of these pins is going to slide into one of these holes. Like that. Now, we need to let that glue set just a little bit. Let it all adhere very well. Then we're going to take it off and let it completely dry. That's the first step. Now we have another wheel. And that is the hour wheel. You can see it's quite large. And it is going to go down on the jig like that. And then we're going to glue all around this area here. I know that making a clock out of wood is not the recipe for a very accurate clock. So I'm not expecting it to be completely accurate, but it should be at least fun to watch it run. So now it says, place the hour wheel front spacer using the axle as a guide. It doesn't seem to want to go. And okay. In that case, we have some sandpaper. We're going to roll it up here. Let's roll it on one of these small little pins. Okay. Now we can use this. We're going to sand the inside of this. We need to do it fairly quickly because our glue is drying. Okay, let's see if that helped any. That's still a really tight fit. My concern is that I will get this on, and then I won't be able to get it off the axle. It'll be tough coming off, but at least hopefully it won't be completely stuck on the axle. I really like the look of these pieces. You can tell they were cut with a laser, just kind of scorched the wood a little bit. Okay. That is most definitely on there. Now, the question is, actually, let's do this. I knew this would be a problem. want this to dry at the same time. I don't want it to glue to the stick, the axle, and I want to be able to get it off once it's dry. So let me work on this for a little bit, and then I will come back. Okay, so we solved that little problem, and we've moved on to the next gear, which is the time set wheel right here. So we have our jig set back up, and let's see. We first start out with this little spacer piece, which goes down, and then we're going to put some glue on it here. Okay. Now, put these 3 pins in here. Like that. Make sure we don't get any glue on here. Okay. Now, next is this gear. We can get it to fit over these pins. There we go. And we push it down onto the spacer. Good. Okay. Now we put more glue. Around here. And around here. Just like that. Okay. So the next is this gear. Which we have to fit again on these pins. That's a tight fit, but that's okay. As long as it's not a tight fit around the axis, we're good. Okay. Now, we need to let this dry a little bit. Then we need to cut off these 3 pins and then put this little gear on top. It's pretty neat. Okay. Well, I'm going to zoom out again. There we go. And I have this saw which looks really old and is ridiculously long, but it has a very fine tooth saw on it, which is exactly what we need. So I'm going to cut these pins off. There's a very high possibility that the video is going to skip ahead to when I'm finished, because I don't imagine that this is going to be a very relaxing sound. So let me do this. There's 3. Okay. Now we need to sand these smooth so that they are not sticking out. One more. Okay. That is all smoothed down and cut off. And we have this one last little gear to put on. This way. Okay. So now it goes like that. It's pretty complicated. And slowly taking it off this axle here. Okay. Now we'll let this one dry. Well, I hope this video is relaxing and enjoyable for you. I am enjoying putting it together, that's for sure. Okay, so the next is called the escape wheel. That is this complicated thing right here. Let's make sure that we do not run into the same problem we had before. Okay, so far, okay, good. So now we have this spacer we put down. And we put down some glue. Just like that. Put a little around the outside here. Make sure that those pins get glued in. Here we have two more little pins. Here are these two pins here. And then we have this gear here. It shows us putting it down like this. Okay. Okay. Making sure we have no glue spillage. Okay, good. Now we put down one of these spacers here. Like that. Okay. And that comes down. There. Okay. Now we have this gear. Each one of these seems to be getting a little bit more complicated. And more parts being stacked on top of each other. So let's do that. So there's that gear. And then we have this final spacer. Like this. The instructions have me paranoid about getting glue on everything, so I always like to check. Push that down firmly. Let that dry for just a little bit. And I'm going to saw these pins off and sand it as well. And then we'll have one more gear and we'll be done with this step. The next step will be putting the face of the clock together, just like that. There's a few steps in assembling that. And then we will put it all together and hopefully have a finished clock. So let's saw these off. those are trimmed off. So now we can sand them down. Okay. So that's what that looks like. Gonna let that dry. So now, as I've said, each one of these gears is getting more complicated. And in fact, I think I'm going to save this final gear for another video, because I need to study it, figure out exactly what's going on, and I'm already well into 20 minutes with this video, so I think this is a good place to stop. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, kind of a construction project ASMR video, and I will continue working on this and have the other videos up of this soon. Well, please subscribe, and thank you guys for watching. Bye.